elevator where you came up, third floor lobby, exit to the right. But I hope you all planned ahead for this afternoon. Look, my name's Michael May. I'm the CEO of the CCRM. And I'd like to start by acknowledging the land on which OmniaBio operates. The city of Hamilton is situated upon the traditional territories of the Erie, Neutral, Huron-Wendat, Haudenosaunee, and Mississaugas. This land is covered by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, which was an agreement between the Haudenosaunee and the Anishinaabe to share and care for the resources around the Great Lakes. We further acknowledge that this land is covered by the Between the Lakes Purchase 1792 between the Crown and the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. Today, this meeting place is still home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to work on this land. Honourable Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario, he is coming, he's on his way. Honourable Victor Fedeli, Ontario Minister of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade. Honourable Sylvia Jones, Ontario Deputy Premier and Minister of Health. Your Worship, Andrea Horwath, Mayor of Hamilton, Conservative MPP Donna Skelly, special guest and cancer survivor Laurie Adamai, honoured guests and friends from South Korea and our partners Metapost, colleagues from OmniaBio, CCRM, partners, friends, and fellow innovators from across the country, welcome to the grand opening of what will be the most advanced manufacturing facility of its kind in the world. Now, what are we talking about here? We're talking about cell and gene therapies. So these are the future of medicine, offering cures, where companies like Metapost are taking cells from healthy donors and modifying them and then re-injecting them into patients to treat osteoarthritis. Or where we can take a prick of blood from each of you and reprogram that to be stem cells and then transform those cells into heart tissue, liver tissue, brain tissue to treat disease. Or if anyone here in the future with cancer needs to be treated, we can take your white blood cells and we can extract them, engineer them, grow them up in this facility and reinfuse them to target your cancer and kill it, providing cures and durable treatments. This is amazing science and something that has advanced over the last 20 years. But what is really exciting is that we're going to be able to stamp these products with Made in Ontario, Canada. Today is not just about this beautiful facility. It's about years, decades-long process of ecosystem building and collaboration. And we have to recognize in the 1960s the discovery of stem cells by Till and McCullough at University of Toronto and UHN, or the discovery of the T-cell receptor at UHN in the 1980s. And we're talking about advanced manufacturing here, so now let's celebrate the Nobel Prize to Geoffrey Hinton in artificial intelligence. That deserves a clap, too. You know, when I finished my education 25 years ago or so, everybody was going elsewhere to commercialize. The companies we were creating and the talent was leaving the country, going to places like Boston. That is not the case anymore with OmniaBio here. It's not the case with the companies we're creating. We're attracting talent and companies and investment from all over the world. And that's because of the work of many people over time. To create stickiness in the community around the companies we created, CCRM over the last 15 years has been creating companies and catalyzing investment as two prongs of a strategy. And we see Notch Therapeutics here as a great example of a company there. And the companies that we've created have raised about $1.5 billion. But the third pillar of that strategy has been manufacturing. And that if we manufacture in Ontario, the companies we create will be sticky and stay here, and we will attract companies from around the world. So that company creation and investing is important, but in 2016, there was a partnership with Cytiva and FedDev Ontario to create a facility to develop manufacturing capability and technology platforms in the space. And then that was leveraged through a partnership with UHN to build a clinical phase facility in the Mars building in downtown Toronto. And then leveraging the business created in those facilities in Mars with support from Invest Ontario and the investment and partnership from MetaPost, we've built a differentiated CDMO with preclinical, clinical, and now commercial capabilities in manufacturing. So this is a building, you're going to hear more about it, 120,000 square feet, 150 employees to date, but a target of around 500 employees. And I've already said it's the place where products of the future will be manufactured. But with partners like Caddy, this will be a place where leaders of the future will be developed. As an anchor company at McMaster Innovation Park, it will define an innovation park of the future. In the city of Hamilton, leveraging its industrial heritage and industrial might, it will represent an industry of the future and manufacturing of the future. In a province that is now launched a life science strategy, a new life science strategy, and is really open for business and favorable to business, this represents an economy of the future. And in a country where we have strong values and a culture of collaboration that allowed us to develop a partnership with MetaPost and to think globally about expanding OmniaBio and what CCRM does, we're really talking here about global leadership of the future. So important in all of that and in ecosystem building that we've been doing is that ecosystem building is built around people. So I'd like to hand the podium over to Mitch Civilotti, who's the CEO of OmniaBio. Mitch built the manufacturing capabilities and business within CCRM years ago that has now been spun out and leveraged into OmniaBio. He led the construction of this building, and he established a world-class team to execute on this plan. So Mitch, we're really proud of you. We're really proud of the team, and I'd love you to come to the podium and describe a little bit more about OmniaBio in the future. Thanks, Mitch.
It's fine. It's fine. Can we? Do you want to just put it back?
You're good. You got your slide in there. And then I will.
I'm probably just not going to show my slide. So, thanks, Mike. Great introduction. Mike always sums it up, beautifully. It's funny, when I go back about 8 years, when I first reached out to CCRM, because I was returning from the U.S. to Canada, I'd spent about 7 or 8 years in the U.S. and California. And I reached out to Mike to get a meeting because it seemed like CCRM was the place to be in Canada for cell and gene therapy. And Mike gave me a meeting time that was about 2 months away. And I thought, what the heck could he be so busy with? But he was busy building a cell and gene therapy ecosystem in Canada. And this was at a time when an ecosystem, or global ecosystem in cell and gene therapy was being developed, right? We're in the early phases of that still. And it's maturing alongside. So the decisions that we're making, the strategies that we take, these all are all in an effort together between us as a piece of that puzzle, but the industry, including biotechnology development firms and pharma, working together with equipment suppliers, for example, to answer the needs of patients globally. So in some ways, we have competitor relationships and we have customer relationships, many different types of investor relationships. but we're all actually on the same side of developing this technology and answering the need of patients. So we may be not at the beginning anymore, but we're certainly not at the end. We're in this time of maturation, and it's a time when innovation can really have a major impact. What we've been learning over the last few years is about some of these major or real challenges in our industry. A lot of those have to do with the cost of these products, the quality of these products, the complexity of manufacturing these products, and that actually connects directly to availability for patients. So we're very focused on how is it that we can address those elements when we think about OmniaBio and its mission, and how we're going to execute on that to make it possible. So our vision is to be different. Our vision is to be a solution to those challenges. So after the culmination of 10 years plus of manufacturing platform development with CCRM, we've put together so much technology, so much know-how, so many people to support that vision that's all coming together. But it's not just about the science. It's also it really includes that end-to-end process that we're learning, right? It's from vein to vein, as we say, which is starting from the bedside, moving products, complex, in some cases non-stable materials through to the manufacturing site, and then returning those very rapidly so that patients can be treated. So we're very focused on innovation, integrating approaches that increase throughput and the quality of our products, reducing cost. And this has brought us really to an intersection of biologic drugs, automation, and very unique skill sets that our Canadian folks here are going to learn along with us and be able to translate into drugs for patients worldwide. So we're developing a new ecosystem here of sorts. We have our GMP and logistics, our scientists and our quality staff, but now we're integrating new folks in robotics and AI engineering, for example. This team will combine that biologic expertise and operational innovation to be a solution to those challenges that I mentioned. Next is location, right? We're here in Hamilton, it's a great city. There's a lot of talent in this ecosystem and spreading out towards Toronto, Mississauga. There's great academic collaboration. McMaster University, University of Toronto, and many colleges and other sites in between. And then logistics. Our proximity to the U.S. border, very important for providing services as a service organization to our clients in the U.S., across Canada, and beyond, across the world. Hamilton has this history, a rich history of manufacturing that we've become a part of, and that continued focus in healthcare that's here. So I wanted to thank CCRM for being that innovative partner and continues to be an innovative partner to OmniaBio in development of new technology. MetaPost for their crucial investment and their customer partnership in being the first late-stage commercial product that this company will be manufacturing at this site. Invest Ontario, the province of Ontario, for their investment in this initiative. And on the research and development side, the support that we received from NGen that supported a number of innovative research programs that have improved the manufacturing platforms that we have today. And to close, I just want to share my excitement, which might not show.
This is Mitch excited.
This is me excited, by the way. I said excitement, at least, right? Share my excitement about OmniaBio's opportunity to lead biomanufacturing innovation and that direct impact that we can have on patients' lives, which is not only rewarding, but it's very meaningful to each and every member of the team. Thank you to our staff for the countless hours that they've put into making this possible. and all the hours they plan to do in the future. And it's great to have that impact that we can provide from, here in Canada to Canadians, to the U.S., and to other companies and patients around the world. Thanks.
The mouse is not working. So, look, at the highest level, what we're doing here is public-private partnership. So, Minister Fedeli, you've been a great supporter of life sciences and what we're doing here. I'd invite you up to the podium to give some words. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Michael. It is hard for you to contain your enthusiasm. I can see that. Mitchell, I can really see that in you too. And I'm glad you ended on such a light note because, Minister Jones, who you'll hear from in a moment, she looked at me when you started talking about from vein to vein. She knows how queasy I am. We were at a MedTech conference the other day, and as soon as they started talking, IntelliJoint was starting to talk about knee surgery, hip. I literally walked away because when I was at their facility the last time and saw like a little bit of red, my face went white. I had to sit down. It was, I can't imagine this vein-to-vein discussion. My wife, Patty, would say, I need to lay down after I get a haircut. I can't stand any kind of trauma whatsoever. So this is a trauma-free zone today. I'm going to block out the vein-to-vein discussion and just think about all the good things, in this very place that we're standing on today and what was here in the past. So we'll have those good thoughts together. And Michael, congratulations to you and all the people who are involved in this. So it's a pleasure to be here today alongside my colleagues, Minister Sylvia Jones, MPP Donna Skelly, and our favorite mayor, Mayor Horvath. It's really, really wonderful to be here to recognize yet another milestone moment in Ontario's life sciences sector, and another great day for Hamilton, I must say. 2 years ago, OmniaBio, in collaboration with Toronto Centre for Commercialization and Regenerative Medicine, McMaster and Innovation Park, and of course, Medi, our gang at Medi. That is just absolutely super to see all of you here today, so many of you at MediPost, to be here today. This is, we all got together and announced back at that time an historic project. It will be to build a biomanufacturing facility that would catalyze Ontario's life science industry. And I have to say, it was a great day, a great announcement, great sod turning, and all those other good things. But you really, both of you together, Mitchell and Michael, have described precisely in detail what you're going to be doing. And it really gave me some chills to know that Ontario, yet again, is on the pointy edge of the spear. And I think that's really the message today, is that once again, we're leading the pack right across the province. We're very pleased and proud today to celebrate this first phase of this investment coming to fruition through the launch of OmniaBio's new cell and gene therapy manufacturing facility that we can't wait to have a tour of a little later today. Because, and you broached on one topic of it earlier, we have a long and storied history here in Ontario of all of these firsts. Think about the fact 100 plus years ago, we discovered insulin. It's used worldwide. We discovered that right here in the province of Ontario, and they're still here under a different name today, and still leading the way in all of the therapies that they're developing over at Sanofi now. We developed the first cardiac pacemaker right here in Ontario. We detected the gene that causes cystic fibrosis. We identified the Alzheimer's gene. And as you pointed out, we now use the stem cells that were discovered here to cure diseases. Today, on the heels of launching the next phase of our government's life science strategy, which we did along with Minister Jones, along with the Premier, yesterday or the day before, I guess now, in Toronto at the MedTech conference, where we announced our life science strategy phase 2, we're now welcoming yet another milestone. So in addition to pioneering curative medicines, this facility will boost biomanufacturing capacity across our life sciences ecosystem, will help domestic companies further develop their advanced therapies throughout the province, and create, now I understood it was 250. I'm going to hold you, Michael, to the 500 high-skilled, high-value jobs in both Hamilton. Mayor, we're going to hold him to that number. Easily done. Those jobs here in Hamilton and in the surrounding area. OmniaBio's investment of $580 million. It is now one investment of more than $5 billion in new life science investments that our province has welcomed since we were put in office. Now, our life science sector employs 72,000 men and women right across 2,000 life science firms throughout Ontario. And that makes Ontario the largest life sciences center in the entire country. And as we look towards the future, we want to continue what we call unleashing our full economic potential. And as we mentioned a moment ago, earlier this week, Tuesday, we announced phase 2 of our life sciences strategy at that MedTech conference in Toronto. By the way, I want to just mention that MedTech was the first time it was held outside of the United States. It was held in downtown Toronto at the Convention Center to a capacity crowd, a record crowd, 25% larger audience at the MedTech conference in Toronto than they've had in the history of the MedTech conference. And that, now because of that, we normally go to Boston, San Diego, San Francisco. They've now added Toronto in that circuit, and that is really, really important that Ontario is so well represented. Because it was at that conference that we announced $146 million into a very ambitious plan to transform our province into a global biomanufacturing and life sciences hub. And of course, we cannot do that without the work that's being done here in Hamilton. So as part of that strategy, and I hope maybe Minister Jones will talk about it more, what we call the health innovation pathway. We're getting a nod. Okay, good. Now, this is really interesting. This is where health and economic development meet, and they collide in a really, really good way. This pathway is going to make it faster and easier for healthcare organizations to access and adopt innovative, made-in-Ontario technologies. And we call it a coordinated process, and that is going to, after all, it's all about the patient. This will improve patient care while ensuring the province's healthcare system has timely access to innovative products with transformative potential. Sounds pretty similar to what's being done by MetaPost and you guys right here. So that's exciting. This phase 2 that we've launched will also focus on ensuring that Ontario companies, our innovators, and our entrepreneurs have what they need to advance research and development, to unlock new streams of capital, support our existing ecosystem, and adopt a culture of innovation. And I do want to say, Minister Jones, MPP Skelly, myself, we were involved in what we call Bobby. Now this is a new agency, Supply Ontario, has been formed. And part of Supply Ontario's mandate, and we put it, the three of us and on our teams, we put this in legislation, that of the $30 or so billion that the province spends on supplies and services annually, a minimum of 10% of that now must be made in Ontario. And so that's a very, very exciting opportunity for companies. And I mentioned IntelliJoint earlier. A company like that who now has hip and knee replacement parts and components using AI, or Kanavi, one of the ones, again, that's one I almost fainted at when they brought the little scope thing out that goes down and looks into your heart. I was literally on the floor when that one came out. But these are all opportunities now that we have here in Ontario because of Bobby, Building Ontario Business Initiative. That's what Bobby stands for. And it means that you companies who are manufacturing things in Ontario, we have an obligation to spend a minimum of $3 billion of our purchasing with you. And so that's something that it's a challenge to do, to coordinate all that, but we'll get there. So by driving the development, the commercialization, and early adoption of Ontario's made in Ontario solutions, by doing with Bobby, we intend to grow employment in our life sciences sector to 85,000 men and women in high-value jobs by 2030. And that's a 25% increase from where we were in 2020. So as we continue to lay the groundwork for a strong and competitive economy, Ontario's life sciences sector is essential to this plan. We simply cannot do that without the work that you're doing here at OmniaBio, here in Hamilton, and throughout the rest of the province. So together with Premier Ford, who is on his way, we want Ontario to be the place where entrepreneurs choose to start and mostly to scale their businesses, and where domestic companies and multinationals will continue to invest. So again, to all of you here today, we thank you for your partnership, MetaPost, your contributions, and your commitment to building a strong life sciences ecosystem, and we look forward to continuing this journey of discovery right alongside you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister Fedeli. I'm glad you brought up insulin because it's a wonderful gift to the world, but next time we're going to make sure we get paid for it and build an ecosystem and an industry around our future developments. Minister Jones, it's wonderful to actually see the Minister of Health and the Minister of Economic Development together, because the mission here is to create both economic and health benefits for the ecosystem. So I'd like to invite you to the podium to say a few words.
Okay, Mitchell, this is my happy face. It's wonderful to be able to be part of the celebration today. I resonated when you started because, you know, we talk about, as we began the life science strategy, we already have exceptional STEM graduates in the province of Ontario. We have really good partnerships with our post-secondary institutions, with our teaching hospitals, and I'm so excited to see that strategy turn into something that is going to build what we already have started here in Ontario. So it is indeed great to be back in Hamilton today, alongside imminently Premier Ford and Minister Fedeli. And you know, we often talk about the team that we are at Queen's Park, and your MPP Donna Skelly is such an important part of that team, advocating regularly for the entire Hamilton region. So great to see you here, Donna. And, you know, I want to talk as the Minister of Health how we are together building that more connected and convenient healthcare system across Ontario. I want to thank OmniaBio team for hosting us today, and for all the partners who have brought this project to life. Today is indeed an exciting day as we celebrate your grand opening of the new biomanufacturing facility right here in Hamilton. Under the leadership of Premier Ford, our government is making record investments in healthcare to make it easier and more convenient for families to connect to the care they need at every stage of life. I've had the opportunity to travel across Ontario and see the many, many examples of innovation and collaboration taking place across our healthcare system. From healthcare providers working together as part of interdisciplinary primary care teams to deliver primary care services to an additional 330,000 people, to local projects that are increasing access to surgical and diagnostic procedures closer to home, like the Center for Integrated and Advanced Medical Imaging located at the Mohawk McMaster Institute for Applied Health Sciences, that is performing now twice the number of MRIs per hour, to creating the Health Innovation Pathway that is championing Made in Ontario healthcare solutions to transform people's journey through the healthcare system. Our government is ensuring Ontario is a world leader in harnessing innovation to provide more people with the right care in the right place. Today's exciting milestone is one more way our government is championing health sector partners, researchers, innovators, and industry, leading to life-changing benefits for Ontario families by improving quality of life and supporting better health outcomes. Because at the end of the day, we are all doing this to improve the patient experience. Thank you again to the partners that have come together to make today possible. And together, we will continue to connect more people to the care and treatment they need for years to come. Thank you. Congratulations. Stay well.
Mayor Horvath, I grew up in Brantford, and so it's a great point of personal pride to be building my passion in the Hamilton community. So I'd like to invite you to the podium to share some words.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's an honor to be here today as we mark the grand opening of OmniaBio's state-of-the-art facility. It is great to see so many folks came for this auspicious occasion, and I'm very, very proud to be here, Canada's first cell and gene therapy manufacturing facility. It is truly an historic day for the City of Hamilton, for Ontario, and for our country. I want to say, though, before I continue, that it's important for me as the mayor to recognize some particular guests who, of course, you've already heard from, but it is my responsibility, and it's a pleasure, actually, to see so many folks that I used to work with in a different way, but happy that you're here again in Hamilton. Of course, the Honourable Doug Ford, Premier of the Province of Ontario, who is we'll be hearing from shortly, but of course the Honourable Ministers Vic Fedeli and Sylvia Jones, as well as our local MPP, Donna Skelly. I just want to say thank you all for your leadership and your commitment to advancing Ontario's life sciences sector. I was happy that you announced, or you reminded us about your announcement at the conference, because I suspect that Hamilton will again benefit even more from your second phase, and so it's definitely good news for us here. We're grateful to have you back in the city, to have you be here as part of this momentous occasion. So on behalf of the City of Hamilton, it is my great pleasure to officially welcome OmniaBio to McMaster Innovation Park. And you might not know this is Ward 1. You are in Ward 1 in the City of Hamilton. And we are very, very proud to be the fastest growing life sciences cluster in Canada. And we are thrilled that OmniaBio has chosen to make our city part of its journey. OmniaBio's facility, as we all have heard, marks a major investment in our city, $580 million, 80,000 square feet of cutting-edge office, lab, and production space. This investment, I took a note on the numbers too, by the way, just so you know, because I had 250 jobs in my notes as well. So I've already changed it to 500, and I saw you saying it's going to be more than that. And I caught you in the corner of my eye making that comment. And so that's wonderful news all the way around, right? It's great for our city, but it's also great for the company, and most importantly, great for the patients who are going to benefit from the amazing work that goes on here. It's strategically located, as we all know, right here in McMaster Innovation Park. It has a unique ability to leverage Hamilton's incredible position and reputation as a logistics and transportation super hub, which of course has already been noted, access to key markets in Canada and the U.S., Hamilton International Airport, Buffalo, Detroit, just a short distance away. OmniaBio truly has found themselves a gateway to the world. I will now call Hamilton a gateway to the world from here on in. But we are absolutely proud to be home to top-ranked universities, colleges, research institutions like McMaster University, Mohawk College, Hamilton Health Sciences, Ontario's second largest hospital network, and the fourth largest in Canada. We all are also home to the Synapse Life Sciences Consortium, a partnership that enhances collaboration between academia, healthcare, and industry. The addition of OmniaBio strengthens Hamilton's reputation as a leader in life sciences. OmniaBio is so much more than a contract development and manufacturing organization for cell and gene therapies, as we've heard. They are advancing the entire industry, bringing life-changing therapeutics to patients who need them the most. This facility, in perfect alignment with Ontario's life sciences strategy, will enhance both Hamilton and Ontario's capacity to deliver end-to-end cell and gene therapy services, addressing the growing global demand, supporting patients worldwide, and positioning our province as a leader in this rapidly evolving sector. Projects of this scale and importance don't come together without strong leadership, collaboration, and hard work. So I would like to recognize the leadership team at OmniaBio, Mitchell Civolotti, Ken Harris, Sharif Sheka, Michael Israels, and Tony Rotuno. Tony, you didn't bring the whole group of people that we saw at the mayor's address, but I had you sweating, didn't I? Your vision, frankly, is amazing. Your dedication, all of that has brought us to this moment, and we look forward to the incredible impact this facility will have on healthcare. I also want to extend my appreciation to the provincial government for your support, including the Invest Ontario piece, our colleagues at McMaster Innovation Park, including CEO Debbie Martin, and the City of Hamilton's Planning and Economic Development team, many of whom are here. I can see them over in the wings. Of course, the General Manager for this department, this division, Steve Robichaud, the Director of Economic Development, Norm Schlehan, Jennifer Patterson, and Asma Al-Hashimi, as well as my Chief of Staff, who is here, Usma Qureshi, and Wynne Baker from my office. It really is collaboration and hard work that makes days like today possible. And I know that there are many people in this room who have not been acknowledged, who are part of that collaboration and hard work. Your efforts have been critical in facilitating this groundbreaking project. OmniaBio's investment is a testament to what's possible, as I said, when innovation and partnership come together, and vision is what drives it. So thank you once again to OmniaBio for choosing Hamilton for this significant investment. We're thrilled to officially welcome you to our city. I have a certificate that I will provide. We look forward to the incredible advancements in healthcare that will emerge from this facility in the years to come. And as those advancements and those products go to market, I know that Mike mentioned that they're going to say made in Ontario, Canada. I would just put my little oar in the water here to say made in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Wishing you all the greatest of success. Thank you so much, and I'll pass this off. Mike, did you want to come up? Mitch, come on up, and Mike, and okay. So it just says, on behalf of the City of Hamilton, I'm pleased to congratulate OmniaBio Inc. on the occasion of your grand opening at 190 Longwood Road, South Hamilton. Congratulations on the grand opening of your state-of-the-art manufacturing facility. Thank you for your dedication towards next-generation cell and gene therapies. Your deep industry experience and latest technologies are the driving force of the future of the CGT manufacturing. I'm so happy you're here. I'm so proud of you today.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Horvath. Look, we'll stick. Get me on track. So, look, I'll stick with the Hamilton being put on the products and the 500 jobs, but don't ask me to press a button under the podium to advance the slides, because I just can't. I can't do that. So, look, we thank the public sector for its support, and as I mentioned, we're a public-private partnership, and it's now time to hear from our partners, Medipost, representing the private sector, the investment in MetaPost, and the investment in being a customer. So I'd like to welcome to the podium someone who we've been dreaming about this for a decade. Tony Lee, who's the global president of MetaPost Company Limited and co-CEO and director of MetaPost Inc., and Ed Ann, who is co-CEO and director at MetaPost Inc. So I think, Tony, you're going to start, but please come on up.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Tony Lee. Thank you, Michael, for your introduction. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone at OmniaBio today, CCRM, as well as MediPost, for making today's event possible. Not only from the perspective of a shareholder of OmniaBio, but also as the very first client of OmniaBio's new Phase 3 commercial stage facility here in Hamilton, where we're actually sitting here. I'm very grateful to every member of OmniaBio for making today's opening possible. As you can see from these photos, hopefully not coming up, maybe not. MediPost's relationship and partnership with CCRM began long before 2016. And CCRM, MediPost, and now OmniaBio, there we go, all share a common goal. Oh, that's not it. Okay.
It's moving. So
Oh, okay, so circling?
yeah, so just let it.
Yeah, it's not been hacked yet. We just wanted to show some photos that goes back way back when Michael May was in Korea first time when we signed an MOU. This is back in 2016. You had an Ontario government delegation visit to Korea. So as you can see from these photos, our relationship goes way back beyond actually 2016. CCRM, MediPost, and now OmniaBio all share a common goal, which is to provide advanced living cellular therapies to the patients who are in need of solutions for their unmet medical needs. Not only that, CCRM and MediPost have both been trailblazers in our respective pathways over the past decade. CCRM has been one of the first non-profit CGT incubator ecosystem builder for early-stage investigators and companies. There have been and still are many similar organizations around the globe, and thanks to Michael May's vision and leadership, CCRM is the only such non-profit organization today which has achieved successful global expansion with established presence in Australia now and Northern Europe, with other global locations currently in the works. Equally importantly, CCRM has become a self-sustainable non-profit organization which reflects the successful realization of its mission and goal, which is commercializing living therapies for the patients in need. Similarly, MediPost has also been very busy trailblazing the allogenic cell therapy space, utilizing the biological potentials of fetal mesenchymal stromal or stem cells known as the MSCs. In 2012, MediPost achieved market authorization of allogenic cord blood MSC product named Cartistem for the treatment of knee osteoarthritis in Korea, which at that time was the world's first allogenic cell therapy product approved by any regulatory agency. There are huge and sometimes unthinkable challenges associated with being the first mover and the trailblazer, and by no means they are easy challenges. On the other hand, the reward that comes when you successfully overcome those challenges and achieving the goal is truly extraordinary. Since the market approval of Cartistem in 2012, over 32,000 patients have received the treatment using Cartistem in Korea, including my own mother, who has received Cartistem treatment in both of her knees 7 and 5 years ago. My mom is 72 years old, a retired high school math teacher, who suffered severe knee pain due to osteoarthritis for the period close to 20 years. She does not have much medical or scientific knowledge, yet after her treatment with Cartistem, she sends me random text messages on some mornings thanking me for getting her back on her feet, lifestyle back, really while she's tracking and jogging. Similarly, when I met with the orthopedic surgeons in the U.S., who have treated their patients under our FDA Phase 1/2 clinical trial several years ago, which is conducted in the U.S., asked me when the product would come into the market in the U.S. As most of you know, we're now just about a year away until we start the Phase 3 market authorization studies for the U.S. and here in Canada, which will be manufactured out of this facility. In Japan, we have recently completed enrollment of the very last patient of the 130-patient phase 3 market authorization study in Japan for CARDISTEM. The Japanese orthopedic surgeons who have treated their patients under the study are calling CARDISTEM a game changer. Such reactions from the medical community and the real life-changing stories are what gets me up in the morning, energized to face the fresh sets of challenges of being the first mover and the trailblazer. Like CCRM and Medipost, I'm now excited to encourage OmniaBio to embark on the challenging journey of being the first mover and the trailblazer in the cell and gene therapy CDMO space. As we all know, there are many serious and visible challenges ahead in this space today. However, as everyone at CCRM and Medipost would agree, the reward that follows as we successfully overcome those challenges with grit and perseverance will be unparalleled. OmniaBio comes from a pedigree of successful trailblazers, CCRM and Medipost, who strive to be the first in class, not only the best in class. For the past 2 years of working here with OmniaBio team, I have witnessed the build-up of a very strong and determined leadership with talented and dedicated team members around OmniaBio. With that, I very much look forward to being part of OmniaBio's first-in-class trailblazing journey for the next 5 to 10 years, and I hope all of you will be here with me to celebrate that success in the years to come. Thank you so much.
Tony, we look pretty young in that picture.
I know, it's only just 8 years. Let me help you. There we go. This is yours.
Okay. Just move forward.
Oh, you can keep it there. Or do you have a slide?
I have a slide.
Yeah, just use this here.
Yeah. Okay. So good afternoon, everyone. So I'm going to take a different tack and not talk about science or technology. So as we gather today to celebrate the inauguration of OmniaBio's first site, I'm reminded of 2 holidays that were recently observed: Chuseok in Korea and Thanksgiving in Canada. So during Chuseok, the entire country of Korea comes to a halt. The bustling city of Seoul empties out as families return to their hometowns. They gather to celebrate the bounty of the harvest and to hope for greater blessings in the coming year, to honor their ancestors whose legacy they believe is believed to bring about the abundance that they enjoy. It's a time for reflection, reconnection, and strengthening of bonds. Today, we come together to celebrate a different kind of harvest, the opening of this remarkable facility. A harvest not of crops, but of vision, dedication, and collective effort. What began as a shared dream between Medipost and CCRM, what was catalyzed by Crescendo Equity Partners, Skylake Equity Partners, and Invest Ontario, has brought us all here today to celebrate this incredible achievement. Look around this room. This room represents the combined efforts of OmniaBio, CCRM, Medipost, McMaster University, Invest Ontario, Skylake, Crescendo, Ellis Dawn, Multiplex, the Township of Hamilton, the Province of Ontario, and many others. Together, a community spanning 3 nations has worked tirelessly to reach this moment. I encourage each of you today to connect, to deepen the bonds that we have formed on this journey, and to walk away not as colleagues, but as friends and family. Though we built this place to save lives, someone's mother, father, wife, husband, daughter, son, best friend, this building already carries the weight of the many hands that have touched it and is full of their hopes, wishes, and aspirations. So today, we celebrate together as one. Celebrate the vision that has brought us here. Celebrate the dedication that has made it a reality. Celebrate the lives that will be saved because of it. Celebrate today. Celebrate together, and celebrate yourselves, because tomorrow we embark on the next chapter of our mission, one that has only begun. Thank you very much.
Very, very beautiful. Thank you, Ed. Thank you. I mentioned at the beginning, this is going to be the most advanced facility of its kind in the world. And Mitch alluded to the fact that we will be integrating tools and technologies around automation and AI in this facility. So I'd like to call up to the podium now Ken Harris, who joined the team a few months ago from AI at Amazon. So Ken, please.
I
have to work this, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Where are you? The next one.
Okay, great. All right. Thank you, Michael, Mitchell, honored guests. I joined OmniaBio being pretty close to CCRM and OmniaBio and some of the founders for a number of years. While at Amazon, we had a vision of creating artificial intelligence in the cell and gene therapy space. And I reached out to OmniaBio a few years ago and said, are you interested in partnering with us at Amazon in starting to think about how we can reduce costs and increase access of these life-saving therapies that are tremendously expensive? And as well, we have bottlenecks of production. And I said, I believe that we can apply artificial intelligence in this space and make real advancements. So together, Mitchell and I started touring other locations and academic centers and really iterating on what that would look like. And I would say today, this facility and our plans in this facility are the culmination of those ideas that are being embraced by pharmaceutical companies now, really the top 10 pharmaceutical companies in the world, realizing what AI will do. At the recent meeting in Davos of the World Economic Forum, they equated artificial intelligence to mankind really being what the internet has done, what electricity was, what the steam engine is, and what antibiotics have been for mankind. That's a pretty powerful list of changing the way we live today and understanding how AI can play in that space. I think artificial intelligence, though, is not really a good definition yet. I really call it artificial knowledge or knowledge as a whole. We're really not to the point where AI is truly intelligent, where it can think on its own. It's getting there. It just is very, very good at assimilating information and feeding it back to us and doing mathematical probability forecasting. To give you an example of that, today, the newest AI models, generative AI models, have the knowledge of a university professor at the beginning. When we started looking at this 2 years ago, generative AI had the knowledge of a high school student, and it could pass some high school tests. But today we're talking about a tenured faculty member in university that a foundation model can spit out all of that universal information that person knows. What it doesn't have is the intelligence of that human yet and what they've learned. It'll get there, but it'll take time. So how are we going to apply that in this facility here in Hamilton? And I think Mike really nailed it when he said this is going to not only be a best in class, but I truly believe in the vision this is going to be the best facility in cell and gene therapy manufacturing in the world. We're leading that way with AI. When you think about what that can do in the Toronto ecosystem and the greater Toronto area, why is Toronto so powerful? In addition to this facility and the leadership, it has excellent skilled labor. We have cloud infrastructure here that is unparalleled, even in North America, probably with the exception of Washington, D.C. What the cloud organizations have invested in the greater Toronto area is unparalleled. So we're going to have the most advanced capabilities for doing things like running AI systems in real time of anywhere else globally. And the other thing that Toronto has is it also has a very good foundation in robotics and AI training. Nobel Prize was awarded last week to someone from University of Toronto for the invention of deep learning, a form of artificial intelligence. But when you look at that greater ecosystem, there is nowhere else in the world that brings all of that together, like this ecosystem here in Ontario. And what's that going to mean for us at OmniaBio? What is that going to mean for our patients? What is that going to mean for our customers? Our goal using AI and robotics out of this facility is to reduce the manufacturing cost of a cell and gene therapy product by 50%. It is to increase productivity in this facility from when it was envisioned by CCRM and OmniaBio to being 4 times more productive with 4 times more output than we envisioned in the beginning of drawing it up, based on using automation and artificial intelligence. That is not future discussion. That's capability we can implement today, and we'll be building in. As you take the tour, you will get to see where we will be putting this kind of next generation infrastructure. And then, oh, I forgot, sorry. I'm not so good at... But when we think about how that applies, let's get kind of practical to say, where are we actually going to be using robotics, automation, artificial intelligence inside OmniaBio to help patients and our customers? Very practically, I talked about the capability of generative AI and the fact that it has all of this knowledge. It can be more, we can't create enough humans to create this kind of knowledge, advanced thinking like we can do with generative AI. We can basically, in the CEO of Pfizer's top 10 pharmaceutical company, as he said, I can now do in 1 week, in 7 days, what would have taken my scientists 274 years to accomplish, that person can now do with AI in 7 days. That's here and now at Pfizer. So what are we going to do with it? We're going to be using AI to execute on reducing our costs by getting much, much smarter in managing our robots. So we will monitor the robots on a minute-by-minute basis to make sure they're executing what they're supposed to be doing in the plant. It's also going to be interrogating and optimizing quality control so we can do more automated testing in a quick fashion. And we can also, and we're about to hear from a patient that's benefited from this therapy, we can also, in the clinician's hands, we can give them tools where they can decide if that patient is right for this particular therapy and that their stem cells or their cells or white blood cells are actually good cells that can ultimately result in a good manufactured cell product. Right now, we don't know that till we've made the product and treat the patient. But with artificial intelligence, we can interpret that based on information off of the patient themselves before they even go on the drug. What does that mean? Saves a lot. If they're not eligible, it saves a lot of heartache, saves a lot of money, maybe a couple of $1 million in the treatment process. And finally, it lets them get onto another therapy that may be more beneficial to them. What does it mean for the patient that it can benefit from it? Maybe we change from putting the patient on chemotherapy and radiation and a lot of other first-line therapies that may not help them to going straight to the cell therapy right away and giving them that curative treatment. So with that, I would like to introduce someone, Michael, that actually has benefited from this therapy, the types of therapies we will be manufacturing in this facility and driving the cost from when that patient received it down by over 50%. Thank you.
So it's going to be difficult to keep my enthusiasm down, but we have a guest today from Los Angeles who was diagnosed with cancer in 2006 and went through 12 years of constant treatment before receiving a CAR T therapy. And the reason you're here, Lori Adamai, is to remind everyone in this room of why we're here, and that's to treat patients. So please.
He almost gave the answer away. It's so great to be here with you all today. And I so appreciate the work that you're doing and the work that you will do to benefit so many patients. There is just crying need. So thank you, everybody, for what you're doing. So I'm going to rewind the clock back to 2006. I was 46 years old. I was married. I had a little boy who was in kindergarten. And I was the president of a Los Angeles-based financial software company that I had been working for over 20 years. And I'd had some health issues for the last couple of years, but had a really hard time getting doctors to listen to me. It was something about the woman and the blonde that made them roundly dismiss my concerns. But I knew something was really wrong, and so I just kept searching and searching. And on Good Friday, 2006, which wasn't such a good Friday for me, I learned that I had stage 4 follicular non-Hodgkin lymphoma, the second most common type of lymphoma, which was considered incurable. At the time, so here's my little kid in kindergarten, at the time I was diagnosed, there was one approved treatment, and that was a combination monoclonal antibody chemotherapy combination. And I thought, okay, I'm going to go get this treatment, and I'm going to go back to work, and everything will be fine, and that will be in the rearview mirror. Unfortunately, that's not exactly what happened. And yes, I went through that treatment, and yes, they thought I was in remission. My oncologist cleared me to go back to work. I began to travel like I always did before, only now I was wearing a mask because I was immune compromised. So I was really early on the mask thing. I don't know why it took you guys so long to catch up to me. So as I say, I went back to work, and then just a few months later, I was imaged again, and unfortunately, I had already relapsed. So this is just months after going through this chemotherapy. And the only option available for me was an autologous stem cell transplant, which for my kind of disease was really not effective, and especially if you relapsed as quickly as I had. So I went in search of my first clinical trial and got into a clinical trial of an HDAC inhibitor, which held me for a year. Then the cancer grew again. So I'm in treatment. In the first 5 years of my diagnosis, I had had 4 different therapies, and none of them had worked. So now I'm sitting in the year 2011, and I've again found tumors. And at that point, the doctor said, well, all you've got left is an allogeneic stem cell transplant, which is I would receive a donor's immune system. And unfortunately, I didn't have a sibling match. So I was at very high risk of very bad side effects, mortality, morbidity. Also, too, because I was so heavily treated, this would be my 5th treatment. The likelihood of my surviving this was actually very remote. So I thought, okay, I got to find another trial. So one day I emailed 8 researchers all over the world looking for trials. Israel, Spain, all over the world. And there was one in LA at UCLA. And then I went to bed. I was just so depressed, and here I am dealing with my 4th relapse and nothing left to do. An hour later, my phone rang, and I looked at it and said UCLA on the caller ID, and this very heavily accented voice said, Miss Adamai, this is Sven DeVos at UCLA. I just got your email, and I have a trial that I think would work very well for you. It's a phase 1 trial. It's of a PI3 kinase inhibitor. It's a pill. And he said, but I only have 20 slots in this trial, and I've already filled 19. So you need to come in today, and you need to get on this therapy. So who knows about that timing, right? Such weird timing. So I started that drug that week, and immediately my tumors were shrinking again. And but unfortunately, that drug was not without difficult side effects, Crohn's disease. So I was stuck in my house. I lost all this weight, had to deal with it. So it wasn't easy, but it was diminishing the disease. About a year later, I attended an event that the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society was holding, and this was in 2012, where they were going to show a video about this little girl, Emily Whitehead. And Emily Whitehead was a pediatric ALL patient at University of Pennsylvania. And Emily Whitehead was the first pediatric patient and the third human to ever receive CAR T. And I sat there and I thought, this makes so much more sense than what I've been getting off a factory line. So I was seeing my oncologist that week and I said, why are you holding out on me? This has to work better. He said, Lori, come here, I want to show you something. And he gestured me over to the window. He pointed out the window in his examining room. He said, you see those two buildings right over there? That is Kite Pharmaceutical, and they are developing CAR T, but they're not doing it yet for follicular non-Hodgkin, which was my disease. So he said, but you're on this horse, you're getting this PI3 kinase inhibitor, we just have to keep you on that horse as long as possible in the hopes that CAR T for follicular is going to come soon. So I had to be patient. And I was really lucky because that horse I was on, I was actually the longest patient in that trial. I was on it for 5.5 years, and it never got rid of my cancer, but I had stable disease, which for me was a win. So unfortunately, at the end of 2016, my cancer got smart again and outsmarted, my cancer got smart again and outsmarted that drug, and my tumors began to rapidly grow. By now, there was a new monoclonal antibody that was a 9-month treatment that I did. That was my 6th line of treatment. Again, everything shrunk fast, but as soon as I stopped that infusion, everything grew again. So then it was a race against time. And there was still no trial, and I was getting sicker and sicker. My disease was growing very fast. I was out on a walk in the spring of 2018, and my cell phone rang, and again it said UCLA, and I answered it, and Dr. DeVos said to me, Lori, you have to come in. The CAR T trial for Kite is opening, and we have 5 slots, and you will be patient number 1. And I said, hallelujah, because I was in really bad shape. So I want to show an image on this screen, which I'm not sure how to do it. So this, in order to go into the trial, they had to do a baseline scan. And this image, I don't know how many of you know how to read PET CT scans, but those of you who do know this is really, really bad. And basically, I had disease pretty much everywhere. It was in my head and neck. It was in my bone marrow. I had a tumor that was so large, it was pressing on my right kidney. They were going to have to put a stent in me. So this is after 12 years of treatment, and my cancer had not gone anywhere but come back. So I went into CAR T with about 8 pounds of tumor burden, which of course put me at high risk for side effects because we know there's a correlation. This was back in 2018. We didn't know as much as we know today, but I had no choice. I was dead. So now let's go ahead and put up the next image, which my husband loves to call the money shot. So this was just 1 month later. This was the PET from August 5th. I got my cells back July 16. 1 month later, I am in a complete remission, and the only black spots are my liver and kidney just lighting up for normal organ function. Of course, when my oncologist gave me this report, I crumbled it up, I threw it across the room. After 12 years, I said, you just type this up in the back room? I don't believe this. I mean, after 12 years, this was like a miracle for me. And I had to wait so long, and it was that little boy in kindergarten that kept me going because I couldn't bear my husband having to tell my son, Mommy died. And I just, like, that little face just kept me going. And my husband said, well, what about me? I said, well, you'll get another wife. But I'm sorry, little children cannot get another mom or dad. So, and this is how I look today. And I'm 6 years out. And this disease that I have, or had, that was considered incurable, In the study I was in, there were 160 patients that had follicular. There was an overall response rate of 95% and a complete response rate of over 80%. And they now believe I'm cured and that CAR T will cure follicular, which is amazing. But we have challenges. In the United States, CAR T for follicular is only available as a third line. This should be first, or if not first, at a minimum second. I had 6 lines of treatment. So you know how many side effects I have from the 6 lines of treatment? If I could have gotten this earlier, I could still be working in finance. I could still be doing my old job. I'm not sure I'd want to be doing that. But we have a lot of challenges, and I'm just going to quickly talk about a few of those. One is the lack of awareness around these types of treatments. When Emily Whitehead was first treated, they did a lot, she got a lot of press. And then COVID came in and sucked the air out of the room. And now there's still a dearth of press. And I know everybody's competing. You guys are all competing with each other. In capitalism, we know that's about money. But the reality is the industry needs to get together and create a PR awareness campaign. It's estimated that only 1 in 3 people have ever heard of cell and gene therapy. And it's also estimated that only 1 in 5 patients in the United States who could actually get this are not getting it because their doctors don't know about it, the patients don't know about it. Earlier this year, the FDA issued a black box warning, which got every press in the world, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, all of them running the story. Now, this was 25 patients out of 35,000 patients. And my point to that was these are all heavily treated. They're getting cancer, secondary cancer, because they had radiation, they had chemotherapy, they had stem cell transplants. There's no clear correlation, and yet the press ran with it. Okay? Where is the offset to that? The other thing that happens is everybody says, oh, this is expensive. I heard it said today. Well, I'm sorry, my 12 years of treatment, $3 million. And so the cost of CAR T relative to that is not a lot. And now, I just talked to a patient last week who's 84 years old and getting CAR T outpatient. Once you take out the cost of the hospital stay, where an ICU bed could be $40,000 a night, that brings the cost down greatly. Also, competition brings the cost down greatly. So I argue that, this is not, in comparison with these oral drugs, like the one I was on for 5.5 years, those cost $200,000 a year. An allogeneic stem cell transplant, easily $1 million. So why is this considered expensive? We need to raise, again, more awareness. So I challenge all of you, and there's still a lot of unmet need. We heard about it. There's solid tumors, there's autoimmune, there's cardiac, there's neurological disorders. You guys have so much work ahead of you. I don't know why you're sitting here listening to me. You should be in the lab doing your job. But anyway, I'm so happy to be able to stand here today, 6 years later, be clean, and to think back about my little boy and that little face who spent his entire elementary, middle, and high school with a mom sick with cancer. And the day after I got out of the hospital, having gotten my CAR T, my husband drove him to LAX, where he flew to Washington, D.C. to start his freshman year of college. And 2 years ago, he graduated from college, and now, thanks to everything that's being done, I may live long enough just to see grandchildren. So thank you again for everything you're doing.
An amazing story. I wanted to ask Tony to come up and just say some words. Just stay right here.
What about this lady, eh? Tony Rotuno, the Senior Vice President, General Manager, and Site Head for this beautiful site that we're sitting in. And every time I hear, that's not the first time I heard the story, I invited Lori to dinner 3 years ago. I still haven't brought her, so if I invite you to dinner, just don't stop eating. But I will do it. Very simply put, and I'm going to be very brief, this is why we do what we do. That's why we do this. It's not the easiest place to work. It's very hard, a lot of pressure, but the rewards are fantastic. And I want to thank all the people in the audience that contributed to this great occasion today, to have a facility that will be able to supply tens of thousands of doses annually to patients just like Lori today that really need it. We've already hired and built a very high-performing team to really maximize the use of this facility and get these products out, and really so give as much as we can as we go forward. But we're giving way more than drug product, though. What OmniaBio is really giving people, what you really wanted, is hope. So the facility, the people, and everyone in it, and everyone and all the hundreds to follow over the coming weeks, months, and years, they'll all be here to provide hope. And you can't give a better gift than that. Thank you so much, Lori.
Look, Tony knows what he's talking about. This is his 8th facility. He's the site head and general manager of this facility. He's actually 150 years old, but thanks, Tony, for those kind words, and thank you, Lori. The premier is here, and I'm not sure how he's going to follow that, but he's on his way in. So... welcome, Premier Ford. We know you're very busy, and we wanted to thank you for coming here today to celebrate with us the opening of OmniaBio and to recognize what the future of Ontario looks like. So thank you very much for being here.
Great, thank you so much. Greatly appreciate it. Well, first of all, good afternoon, everyone. I'm running a little behind, just left the Empire Club, and actually you did. You must have broke a few speed limits on the way here, Vic. And first of all, thank you, Michael, for that introduction. And folks, it's great to be here. What a beautiful building. When you're pulling up, it was like eye-popping, so it's amazing. And alongside my champion team here, Minister Jones, my Deputy Premier, Minister of Health, and Minister Fideli, obviously Economic Development, and my local champion that promotes Hamilton everywhere we go, Donna Skelly. So thank you. Before I get started, I just want to acknowledge Mayor Horvath, my BFF. And that's what I always say right now, and Michael from CCRM. Really appreciate it, and thank you, Mayor, for the collaboration, cooperation. We work on a lot of projects, and I always say when you work together, no matter if it's municipal, provincial, or federal, you get a lot of things done. And a big thank you to Tony and Ed and everyone at Media Post for flying in here. And I don't know which way you came, if you flew over Toronto or Hamilton, but thank you for flying in for this event. And for your conference, and your confidence, I should say, in our province's growing life science sector. And I know, Vic, you're working really hard, and I think we set a goal of $5 billion, more than $5 billion, but we're already hit about $5 billion. So thank you for your hard work. And finally, thank you to Mitch, Ken, and Morgan, and your team at OmniaBio. If I'm not mistaken, that was the first investment, Vic, that we did, wasn't it? Yeah, I thought so. Invest Ontario, what a great investment it is. I'm so thrilled to be here with all of you to celebrate the official opening of this incredible facility, the largest of its kind in Canada, dedicated to cell and gene therapies. This new state-of-the-art facility, which our government was pleased to support with a $40 million investment, is going to employ hundreds of people and significantly increase biomanufacturing capacity here in Ontario. It will help advance new medicines with the potential to cure many forms of cancer, cardiovascular disease, Parkinson's, and diabetes. And a tremendous win for patients here in Ontario, for our workers, and for all of Canada. My friends, the life sciences sector is such an important part of our economy, an important part of keeping people in Ontario healthy. That's why here in Ontario we're working hard to support innovative companies just like OmniaBio. Minister Fedeli spoke earlier about the growth in the sector. Since 2018, our life sciences sector has attracted more than $5 billion in new investments and more than 5,000 jobs. And I'll tell you the reason why. It's the quality of the people that we have, the greatest colleges and universities. I always say I'll put our people, our colleges and universities against anywhere in North America. Companies like Sanofi and Teva in Toronto, Abbott Point of Care and Siemens Healthineers in Ottawa, global pharma companies like Moderna, Roche, and AstraZeneca, and local companies like Tridel Healthcare and Baylis MedTech and Synaptive Medical are not only choosing to invest here in Ontario, they're choosing to lay down their roots here as well. They're doing so because of our world-class colleges and universities, as I mentioned earlier, and our highly skilled workforce. If you think of it, we're the only jurisdiction anywhere in North America that graduates 70,000 STEM graduates every single year. And again, I know when, Vic, you're traveling around and when we have folks by, again, that's our number one selling feature. And also the quality of life here. Second to none. When you live in Ontario, it's a quality of life. And we've all had an opportunity to travel around, but there's no place like Ontario. They're investing in Ontario because of our government has created the environment and the conditions for companies to thrive, prosper, and grow. I always say if government creates jobs, we're all in deep trouble. But between myself and the mayor and our team and other mayors, we create the environment and the conditions for companies to come here and they invest. And we've cut red tape by over $1 billion. Just think of that, over $1 billion and 1.5 million hours of working time. So you can reallocate those people somewhere else. And just cutting the red tape in government and getting right to the source. We run the province like a business, not like a government agency. There's government time and then there's private sector time. We believe in private sector time. I'm a big believer in lean methodologies, Lean Six Sigma, and that's what we have, lean teams going to every single ministry. We've reduced the cost of electricity between 15 to 17%, and we've kept taxes and fees low. In fact, since we came into office 6 years ago, we have never ever raised taxes on businesses or people. Instead, we've reduced the cost and burden on businesses by $8 billion each and every single year. And folks, I have to tell you, when we first, and I apologize, I'm throwing out all these numbers. I'm just a numbers guy. Show me the numbers. Numbers don't lie. When we came into office, I say it was like walking into a bankrupt company. $150 billion in revenues. During a pandemic in 6 years, we grew those revenues by $64 billion to $214 billion, and we've never raised taxes. We have a very simple theory in the province. You have two choices. You fill the pockets of government with your money, or you keep your money in your own pocket, and you stimulate the economy. You just think of this, rather than us taking your money, you put money into people's pockets. They're going to, simple as going for dinner. Maybe, buying your kids new sneakers or clothes, or putting a little renovation on in your home, or being able to put a deposit down on a home. That's what stimulates the economy. Or putting money back into businesses' pockets. And what do? I know what we did in our company. We invest into the people, into technology, into the infrastructure, and that grows the economy. We have to increase productivity here in Ontario and across the country. It's absolutely essential. We start bringing productivity back up. And that's the way we look at it. Before we took office, 300,000 jobs were chased out of the province because of red tape, regulations, high energy cost, not a very conducive for businesses to come here and invest. As we stand here today, there's 860,000 more people working today than there was 6 years ago. The stats from Stats Canada came out the other day. 43,000 people found full-time employment. That's a record in North America. Not a record, but it's number one in North America for last month. And folks, here in Ontario, we're going to keep working hard to create an environment where jobs can grow and companies like OmniaBio can succeed. We want to establish Ontario as a global biomanufacturing and life science hub, a place where medical breakthroughs are discovered and developed into innovative products and services for the benefit of everyone. Once again, I just want to thank everyone at OmniaBio for inviting us today to be part of this special day, and just want to wish you all the best. And if you need anything at all, call me on my cell phone. I'm serious. I see the cameras. My deputy would jump up and tackle me if I gave out my number, but privately, or even easier, just go online, go Doug Ford on the internet, cell number, and it will pop up. Text me if you need help, and I guarantee you one thing, you're getting a call back. So thank you, and God bless each and every one of you. Thank you so much.
Well, Premier Ford, OmniaBio is here to do business.